Hi and welcome to this video. So today I'm going to show you on how to fix the Toyota blowers. Now these motors you can't pull apart and replace the brushes, which is what the problem is. So I've basically unbolted the fan underneath this comes out of a Toyota Town Ace. They're not the same, but they're all pretty much the same principle. And the fan, so what I did is I undid the clips here, slid this off the motor, removed the motor. So basically the only two things that I want to keep from the blower is just the fan itself and the plastic cowling that's going to go back in there. And I just put a little bit of a hole there. That's what it looks like. So to fix the blower we need to replace the motor in the actual blower itself. So I jumped on eBay and I bought one of these motors, which is 50 millimeters in diameter, and it was 110 millimeters overall length, which is right, and I just measured it. So what you need to fix the Toyota blower, 50 millimeter coupling that I bought from Bunnings, which is the 50 millimeter coupling, just like that. There's the actual barcode number off that. So that's going to provide me with my 70 millimeter outer diameter. Then the inner diameter here, I'm going to put the motor inside there. So the next thing I need is two O-rings. So I've got my two O-rings here, which I just bought. They were all of $2 each. A 12 volt motor, so that's the model number there, and it's made by that company there. Right, so let's put this together. So we'll take that out. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to put this inside there, this inside there. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is make sure that this is nice and snug and fits in here, which it does. So I'll just put that in there like that. Now the other thing I want to do is I want to put my O-ring. So what I might do is actually just put this all together. So I'm going to put my O-rings on here, and I'm going to use top and bottom O-rings to stabilize the motor. When I'm putting this together, I want to make sure that when I do press it down, it does have room where it's actually going to move. So I'm going to push this one right down to the bottom, because as I slide it in, that's going to go up, and I want this one to go up as well. So I'm going to put it something maybe about there for the travel. So feed this in, pretty self-explanatory. So I might actually feed the O-ring in from the bottom, because I do have that lip inside there, and as I'm pushing it, it will not go past that lip. So let's just put that in there, get that nice and snug. And you can use a screwdriver just to push that through if you need to. Just make it nice and even. So this is the perfect size for this motor and the Toyota cowling that it's going to be in. So if I just do something like that, and then I'll have a look at the top here. I want to push that down a little bit more, just put it more in the middle. Like it's really a good fit here. Now the O-rings are just basically just for a spacer and stop any kind of vibration anyhow. So there we have it. There's our motor inside there. Put our O-ring there. Next thing we need to do is just put it into the cowling. Cowling. So just like that. Obviously I've cut away a little section just for the positive and negative to come out, and push that all the way down. That's the perfect height. The O-rings are the perfect size, and that's just now centered this whole thing, and that's a very snug, nice fit. Now that thread there is an M8 thread, so I just basically just coarsely just tapped inside there with a tap. And the reason why I put the hole in the bottom is that on the motor itself, I'll grab another motor, we have a slot in there which I can use my flat blade screwdriver to hold that actually still, so the spindle won't turn while I'm actually screwing this on. So I can start to get that ready to go, put it on the right way. So I've measured all of these components and they fit pretty well. So as I start to screw it on, obviously the motor is going to turn at the same time. So that's the reason why I put a slot down the bottom here. Now, 3 bolts later, and just change the fitting on there. And I will now have the blower working again. Now it's probably not going to be all that well balanced. Seems to be okay, but it probably won't. Yep, slightly off balance. So what I've done is I've just used that to hold it in place. Just make sure it's right tied up. So obviously you want to decide which way you're going to put the power to the motor. So we will do that now. I wonder if I can run it off an 9-volt battery. Probably not, but that's the only kind of battery. I wonder where the battery's gone. Alright, so just running off a 9-volt battery here. So whether you spin the motor clockwise or anti-clockwise, I'm not sure whether it makes any difference, because 180 out from there, it would then be sucking it in. So whether I wire it up positive to positive or negative to negative, I don't think it really is going to matter all that much of which way the motor is actually going to spin. And I can feel just with a 9-volt battery, you know, it's blowing a lot of air around. So this is now ready to go. Maybe if I drilled and tapped it a little bit better, or maybe, you know, kind of centering it a bit better, I don't know. These things might have just be out of balance anyhow, and that might be the way they are. I don't really know. But these are $380 to buy a new one, and you've got to kind of find a new one. Second hand is not worth buying because you can't replace the brushes, and my van's 20 years old this year, so I'm better off just buying a $20 motor from eBay. I think it was about $20. It was not much at all. So the coupling cost me $2.80 from Bunnings, which is the white PVC coupling. The O-rings were $2 each, so it's $4. So say $6, $7, and $20 for the motor. So under $30. And just by buying these parts, I can now bolt this up, wire this back in, and now I've got AC back, and my blower's now working. It didn't cost me $30 to fix it instead of $300 or whatever they are. I've seen $380. Record wanted $70 for a second-hand one, but how do you know that it hasn't been spinning for 20 years? You know, you don't know. So this way, new motor, done, problem solved. All right, so now we have air blowing. I'll turn the AC on. And our motor is there. Our motor's back in. Now the other thing I didn't tell you is that because the screw thread is a certain way, you want to spin it the opposite way. So when the motor's actually spinning, it's actually tightening on the screw thread that you tapped in for the fan. So basically you put, just meter it, this is the positive, so I'm actually going to spin it in the opposite direction. So the positive is going to go to the negative is going to go to the positive to make it spin in the opposite direction. But that is it. I now have air conditioning, and up here in Queensland it's an absolute must, and the fan's going, and it was all of $30. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope that you liked that video, and I hope that this actually saves you money instead of going and buying a second-hand one. All you need is an M8 tap, and pretty much that's it. I didn't really use any tools. M8 tap, a screwdriver, just tap it, put the thing together like that, put it all together and solder it up, or use the clips, whatever you want to do, and you've got AC back. Alright, cheers, thanks for watching.